KPSM is currently investigating a shooting incident, a public message from Patrice Gums, Minister of Roaming. 8 years later, most recommendations for Point Blanche prison still not implemented. Premios Verdes recognizes Caribbean Marine Conservation Initiative among regional projects advancing environmental and social impact. From the island of Sint Maarten, this is SXM Daily News for July 10th, 2026. The Sint Maarten Police Force, KPSM, is currently investigating a shooting incident approximately 8:50 p.m., Thursday, July 9th, 2026, which left one young male seriously injured. Police Central Dispatch received a notification that a gunshot victim had been transported to the Sint Maarten Medical Center for emergency medical treatment. Upon arrival, officers learned that the victim had sustained at least one gunshot wound to the lower abdomen. At this stage of the investigation, the circumstances surrounding the shooting remain unclear. Detectives, together with members of the forensic department, are actively investigating the incident and gathering evidence to determine exactly what transpired. The victim remains hospitalized at the Sint Maarten Medical Center, where he is receiving medical treatment. He is reported to be in serious but stable condition. KPSM urges anyone who may have witnessed the incident or who has information that could assist the investigation to come forward and contact the police force at +1 721 542 2222 or the anonymous tip line at 9300, Sint Maarten. In a follow-up inspection in which the fieldwork was carried out from June to October 2025, the Law Enforcement Council, the Council, has determined that implementation of previous recommendations by the Council for the Sint Maarten Penitentiary and the recommendations of the European Committee for the Prevention of Torture and Inhuman or Degrading Treatment or Punishment, CPT, remain significantly delayed. The Council inspected the treatment of detainees, social reintegration, and isolation cells. The inspection shows that of the Council's 7 recommendations, only 1 has been fully implemented, 1 has been partially implemented, and 5 have not been implemented. Of the 2 CPT recommendations, 1 has been implemented, namely, the renovation of the isolation cells, while the recommendation to introduce a registry for the use of force has not yet been carried out. Reintegration and rehabilitation. The Council notes that, more than 8 years after the previous inspection, insufficient progress has still been made. This is concerning, especially since the problems within the prison have been known. The Council finds the persistent shortcomings in the area of reintegration particularly concerning. Due to a lack of staff and resources, reintegration activities, rehabilitation plans, and aftercare remain limited. Although initiatives such as educational programs and workshops are in place, there is a lack of a structural and coherent approach. According to the Council, the lack of reintegration activities and programs increases the risk of recidivism and hinders the responsible reintegration of inmates into society. The Council views the developments surrounding the construction of a new prison as a positive step and expects that these will result in actual improvements to the identified issues. Solitary confinement cells. The inspection also assessed the use of solitary confinement cells in the prison and the isolation room at the Mental Health Foundation. The Council notes that the newly designated cells comply with CPT standards, but observes that in practice they are regularly used for other purposes, namely, for capacity and security reasons. Concerning the Mental Health Foundation's isolation room, the Council notes that it is used as sparingly as possible, that the facilities comply with the assessed international standards, and that the room is in good condition. Minister of Justice Natalie Tackling, speaking to members of Parliament, should know how thin our position really is, because two things are missing at the same time: the equipment and the law. Our police force has no breathalyzers, not the handheld ones for the roadside, and not the large evidential machines at the station. So drunk driving on this island is currently addressed only after the accident or when someone is visibly impaired during our control, using a physical sobriety test that has to be repeated before the assistant prosecutor and again the next day to hold up in court.
And I'll say it here plainly instead of pretending otherwise. Second, drunk driving. Members, this Parliament should know how thin our position really is here, because two things are missing at the same time: the equipment and the law. Our police force has no breathalyzers, not the handheld ones for the roadside, and not the large evidential machines at the station. So drunk driving on this island is currently addressed only after the accident or when someone is visibly impaired during a control, using a physical sobriety test that has to be repeated before the assistant prosecutor and again the next day in order to hold up in court. But even if we bought the machines tomorrow, our traffic ordinance gives them nothing to stand on. It contains no legal blood alcohol limits, there's no basis for roadside breath testing, there are no rules on breath analysis equipment, and there are no penalties tied to any particular level of measurement. Structural alcohol controls, such as the kind that Aruba has, the kind that actually change behavior, require both the equipment and the legislation. And today, we have neither one of those. The equipment, of course, is a budget question. The legislation is a question for this esteemed House and for the new ordinance that I will come to shortly in my presentation. And the breathalyzers are not the only gap in equipment. The same budget limits regularly mean too few operational patrol vehicles on the road, because cars that run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, wear out fast and cannot always be replaced. No speed measuring equipment and too little storage space for seized vehicles, which means that seizure, one of the other interventions that actually hurts and changes behavior, is sometimes impossible because we have no place to store the vehicles. Third, and this one might surprise most people, many of the traffic fines that we do write cannot survive in court. A judge can only uphold a speeding ticket if the speed limit is posted. On large parts of this island, there are no speed limit signs, no built-up area signs, no school zone signs, and no road markings. Where the road authority has not made the rule visible, the court voids the fine. Our officers are therefore spending scarce capacity writing tickets that the law, as things stand, cannot always back up. Fourth, scooters. Everyone sees the behavior. Everyone asks why the police do not simply chase them down. The police have no motorcycles for pursuit. But the deeper truth is this: a chase through our traffic puts other road users, the officers, and the rider himself in danger. And that danger is out of proportion to a traffic offense. And when we weigh those, the weighing always comes out on the side of safety first. So riders who flee the scene or who flee often simply cannot be stopped by the police. And that is something that is deeply frustrating, but it's deeply frustrating, I think, most of all for the officers more than anybody else. The real answer to solve this problem, in my opinion, and one that I will be pursuing, is cameras and the fining of license plates. But I'll get to that a little bit later in the presentation as well. So the question, of course, is whose job is it if I've just said that it's not what the police can't do? Now, I need to say something that may sound like deflection, but I want to assure everybody that it's not. And it is the map of the problem. And without the map, we're going to be back in this room next year having the same meeting. Justice enforces the traffic law. That is our job, and I've just accounted for it. But justice does not build or line the roads. Justice does not decide what a driving lesson contains or when someone gets a license. Justice does not issue the permits for taxis, buses, quads, and tour buggies that load our road network further every year. Justice does not set the closing hours of nightlife, even though everyone in this room knows the connection between those closing hours and the accidents that happen at 4 o'clock in the morning, or at 5 in the morning, as the MP rightfully stated about overtaking cars. Justice does not control how many vehicles are imported into this island, which today is unlimited, onto a road network designed for a much smaller St. Martin. Justice does not regulate insurance, even as insurers increasingly refuse to cover scooters at all, so that when a crash happens, the victim is left with nothing, and the scooter disappears from the scene before the police arrive because nobody involved has anything to gain from staying. Justice does not grant building permits, even when a building opens before anyone has thought about the traffic and the parking around it. And justice does not write or approve its own budget. Behavior in traffic is shaped by 4 things: attitude, personal responsibility, prevention, and enforcement. Police and justice hold one of those 4 levers. 1, and I will pull that lever as hard as capacity and the law will allow me to pull it. But if we only ever pull that one lever, we will continue counting the dead every year in this country, and we will keep holding urgent meetings of Parliament. Solving this needs every ministry, and it needs this Parliament. I mean that literally, and at the end, I will tell you what I'm asking of Parliament as well. But there is a lot that's happening together, so I don't want to leave you with the impression that the ministries are pointing fingers at each other. The cooperation is real, and it's producing results, and the police deserve credit for driving a lot of it. Together with Vromi, a plan was made to make Philipsburg scooter-free with barriers and closed alleys, and the budget for that has been made available. Together with Vromi, Canagita Street became one-way after the analysis of the crossing with Percy LaBega Street. There is a worked-out advisory for new signage across the island and for road markings, including the solid lines that make overtaking enforceable. There is an advisory for an alternative to Welgelegen Road, which is overloaded and too often blocked. There is a redesign advisory for the junctions of Welgelegen Road and AJC Brouwers Road. Those last 3 exist on paper, and of course, they're waiting for one thing, which is budget. Together with TIAT, the conversations with tour operators have visibly changed behavior on the road, and the joint approach to gypsy taxis in Philipsburg has reduced the pressure in Point Blanche. Joint controls with the other enforcement services send the message that the law applies. And the police contributed to the draft of a new traffic ordinance, which brings me to the piece of this story that I find the hardest to accept.
This is a public message from Patrice Gums, Minister of Vromi, who comes to you today with important news that affects every single one of us who call the island home. The First Instance has issued a landmark ruling confirming what we have long maintained. The beach has always been and remains public property belonging to you, the people of St. Martin. Minister of Vromi.
St. Martin, I come to you today with important news that affects every single one of us who calls this island home. The Court of First Instance has issued a landmark ruling confirming what we have long maintained. Mullet Bay Beach has always been and remains public property belonging to you, the people of St. Martin. This judgment came from proceedings brought by Sun Resorts Limited NV against our country, and it resolves the long-standing question over the ownership of one of our island's most significant natural and public assets. The court accepted our government's historical and legal position and confirmed that Sun Resorts never acquired ownership of the beach itself. This is an important victory for us, St. Martin. This ruling gives us long-term legal certainty that Mullet Bay Beach, like all other beaches, belongs to the public and will continue to be enjoyed by residents and visitors alike for generations to come. Now, I want to be transparent with you about what comes next. The judgment addresses a number of related matters, and my government, together with our legal advisors, is carefully reviewing the full decision to determine the appropriate way forward. In particular, we are working through details surrounding this ruling, including ensuring that access to the beach already enshrined in our national law is guaranteed, and how the boundaries of what is legally considered the beach will be clearly defined going forward. This work matters, and we intend to get it right. I want to reassure everyone I remain fully committed to acting in the best interests of St. Martin. As this process continues, we'll keep you informed. Thank you, and may God continue to bless St. Martin and her people.
Social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social and health insurances.
This year has been one of my toughest years yet, but also one of the best years. This brigade has taught me discipline, respect, responsibility, and how to carry myself even when life gets rough. When I first joined this organization, I was weak, unmotivated, and honestly, I didn't even want to be here. My mother practically forced me to stay.
What a nice mom!
I couldn't do a single push-up. Running felt like punishment, and every training session felt like a personal attack. But look at me now. Today I stand as a proud sergeant. This brigade changed me. It taught me that motivation means nothing without discipline. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what wakes you out of bed 5 in the morning when you rather stay at home pretending that alarm did not turn off. Along the way, there will be people who try to discourage you. People in higher positions who may speak negatively into your mind, underestimate you, and make you feel smaller. But one thing I learned is this. Never allow anyone to define who you are or limit what you can become. Stand on your own principles and become your own person. To those who received a rank tonight, congratulations. Wear it with pride, but don't let it get to your head. A rank is not a crown. It's a responsibility. Keep striving to become better than you were yesterday. To the newly promoted cadets, congratulations to you all as well. This is the beginning of a long road. The journey ahead will challenge you mentally and physically, but that challenge is what builds character. And to those who did not receive a rank tonight, do not let that discourage you. Use it as fuel. A minor setback can lead to major comebacks. Sometimes delay is there to prepare you for something greater. Keep you pushing, keep pushing, keep training, and prove to yourself, not others, that you belong here. People always say the sky is the limit. But why is the sky the limit while there's already footsteps on the moon? So dream bigger, work harder, stay disciplined, and never allow temporary obstacles, temporary opinions, and temporary people stop permanent goals. Thank you guys for listening. Cruz, out.
You're welcome. Ramerson Clemencia. Delano Crossman. Leonardo Cruz Olea. Nehemiah DeWeaver. Syria Fleming. Deshaun Hennis. Cadet Hyman. Ifra. Mason. Peterson. Sims, Perez. Aspiller. Fabre. Kala. Martina Gums. Richardson Arundel. Rogers. Rose. Careful. Norton. Richardson. Fix your shirt.
You couldn't do it, you're going to the bathroom.
Rodney. Cruz. Granger. Yeah, good. Why? Gilbert?
Yeah, exactly.
Charles?
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for all of the newly installed and promoted youth brigaders. And now we'll be moving over to the award ceremony. Captain Long mentioned them while they were getting their promotions and their pins. So I will hand it back over to Project Manager Nichelle Smith and Captain Long for the award ceremony.
Best Academics Award presented to Joseph Fabre Zazuela in recognition of being the best in academics. And the best academics for aspirants presented to Raymondson Clemencia in recognition for his best academics. Most Improved Award presented to Delano Crossman. Most Outstanding Award presented to Miley Ifra. For the aspirants. Most Outstanding Award presented to Luis Cruz Olea. So, So these awards we have here is to really recognize the dedication, long hours, and hard work that they put in to the members, the team, the staff, and we really wanted to recognize them. I know this moment won't be enough to show our appreciation, but to at least acknowledge their dedication. So I'd like to present the first award to Caleb Carter. This award appreciation presented to Caleb Carter for outstanding service and contribution for the Brigade year 2025-2026. And the next award goes to Award of Appreciation presented to the Nasha Charles for outstanding service and contribution for the brigade year 2025-2026.
Now for the weather forecast, tonight through Saturday midday. Fair to partly cloudy, breezy and hazy. Brief isolated showers are possible. Surface winds, tonight through Saturday midday. Easterly with a gentle to moderate breeze at 12 to 18 mph and possible higher gusts. State of the sea. Slight to moderate waves, swells 3 to 6 feet outlook through Sunday midday. Partly cloudy and breezy with light haze and brief isolated showers. And now your 3-day forecast.
SXM, your social and health insurance. SXM, your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social and health insurances.
Caribbean Sea. Premios Verdes has recognized Caribbean marine conservation through community conservation at the Alligator Head Foundation Jamaica, the Caribbean Shark Coalition in the wider Caribbean, and the UNESCO IOC Ocean Decade Task Force as part of its regional platform highlighting social and environmental initiatives from Latin America and the Caribbean. Premios Verdes is one of the leading social and environmental movements in Latin America and the Caribbean, identifying, connecting, and amplifying projects that contribute to sustainability, innovation, and measurable impact across the region. Each year, the platform highlights projects that address urgent social and environmental challenges and support new models for sustainable development. The Caribbean Marine Conservation Initiative is included under the Marine Ecosystems category, which focuses on the conservation of oceans and the promotion of sustainable marine development. The recognition reflects nearly 2 decades of work, led by Tadzio Berwowitz, to advance marine conservation, ocean governance, community-based fisheries, shark conservation, reef restoration, sustainable livelihoods, and blue economy financing across the Caribbean. The Caribbean's coral reefs, seagrass meadows, and coastal fisheries are facing severe ecological decline. Coastal communities, whose livelihoods, food security, cultural identity, and resilience are directly tied to the sea, carry the greatest burden of that loss. At the same time, many of the drivers of marine ecosystem degradation, including unsustainable development, extractive industries, and inequitable governance, continue to place pressure on the region's coastal and marine resources. Under Bervoet's leadership, the initiative advances a model of conservation grounded in community leadership, science, and justice. It reflects the understanding that marine conservation cannot be imposed on communities from the outside, and that effective ocean governance must ensure that the people who steward marine ecosystems are central to decision-making and benefit from conservation finance and sustainable blue economy opportunities. The body of work recognized through Premios Verdes spans initiatives led by Bervoets across the Caribbean, including the founding and management of marine protected areas, the establishment of the first shark sanctuaries in the Dutch Caribbean, the development of regional shark conservation initiatives through the Caribbean Shark Coalition, leadership of a USD 50 million regional conservation trust fund, the design of blue economy financing mechanisms across 5 countries, the chairing of the IOC UNESCO Ocean Decade Task Force for Latin America and the Caribbean, and the development of the first Caribbean Coral Emergency Response Plan. This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.